Check this.
If there's no benefit, like that's what it is. Even like if somebody tells you like a story and it's completely bullshit, you're just like, that's cool. Even though you can like prove that was completely wrong in like 15 different places that didn't make any sense, you're like, that's cool, and just like walk away because like you don't gain anything. You just like they're just like, oh, they caught me as a fake story or whatever. And now you just made someone feel bad for no reason. It's like, why'd you do that? Like you could have just let them be happy. But now you had to prove them. Does that make you feel better? Not really.
Nope, you gain nothing.
You gain nothing. Like, cool, man. Have fun with that bullshit story. But I've done that to a couple people once, and I was like, that doesn't help. I was like, I feel better that they're not as stupid now, and they realized what they said was not stupid. But at the same time, I don't feel like they're gonna retain that information. They're just gonna go over to someone else and tell them some bullshit stuff too. Yeah. So it's like, why would I bother?
Sometimes it's not even worth like correcting people.
Like what is it? Is it Albert Einstein? He said, don't argue with stupid people because they'll bring you down. They'll bring your intelligence down to their level and beat you at their own game because they're so good at it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's pretty fucking funny. I think it was him that said that. Either way, I know that's a quote from somebody. I think it's hilarious. I'm like, that is true. They do tend to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to stupid people, they will destroy you with stupidity.
Oh, yeah.
It hurts your head.
Yeah, I've had a couple people like that.
Dude, it'll hurt your head for like a day, man. You're just like, man, so people like that exist. They're stupid.
Yeah. And you're like, people really think like that? Wow.
You're like, you got a high school degree?
How?
You went to college? What the fuck? How did you even... Oh, boy. It's funny how people get degrees in, like, really good stuff, and then you realize their common sense is, like, non-existent.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you make it this far with no common sense?
Uh-huh. It makes you wonder, what the fuck am I doing?
But how did you, like, get such, like... You're really smart at something, but, like, common sense isn't one of those things? So you think you'd need that as a base for everything, but apparently not.
No.
It's
sometimes I think it hurts.
That some people's like retarded and they're like, they're doing like some nice ass job getting bank just because that's their one specialty. It's the one thing they're good at. Yeah. Everything else they're retarded at, and they found it. Lucky people.
Yeah. Me on the other hand, I don't know what I'm good at.
Pretty good. You're just pretty average in everything.
Yeah.
You're pretty average in everything, so you don't know what to pick from. I feel like
it's all boring.
You're a normal human being, and you're like, that sucks.
There's nothing special about me at all.
I feel like I trade in some skill for something just to be really good at one thing, so I can do it. But no, I'm just average in everything. You know what you are? You're like one of those characters in a game, and you just even up their stats perfectly, so they're not good at anything. Just like they're perfectly balanced.
They're the perfect starter.
Yeah.
Like, this is how you learn how to play the game.
They're like pretty basic ass, dude.
Yeah, but then once you actually like learn the game, then you can do like different builds and max stats and stuff like that. But nope, I'm a starter.
You're just stuck forever that. Oh god, poor.
It's sadness.
Poor dude. It happens.
I wake up every day and I'm like, why?
Like I didn't have to wake up.
Yeah, I could have just stayed asleep, forever. That would have been like cool, but no, here I am, another day.
Did you know that people said that you can get someone's heart broken like that? Like I was like, okay, that's just saying that you can break someone's heart like that. Apparently, if you actually physically do care about someone enough, you can link your heart to that emotion, and if something happens to that, like if they die or whatever, your heart will actually like tear itself apart.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
I didn't know,
like heartstrings.
Yeah, the heartstrings will tear.
Yeah,
and you'll bleed. And I'm like, it's weird that like the muscle will link to like a memory, like a core feeling like that. So I guess there is feeling in your heart, even though theoretically it's the brain. Theoretically, it's in your heart too. Apparently, I'm like, it's weird. That's really janky. I didn't know that was.
Well, yeah, because like your heart changes with your emotions, like your heart rate and stuff like that.
Well, that makes sense, but that's blood flow coming from brain waves. But it shouldn't be correlated with the.
I mean, I could believe it. I thought I felt something like that at one point. My heart hurt really bad.
He probably was dying. It could have been actually like some of it was deteriorating.
It was when I first moved here, and I was like really super depressed
about that.
About just everything. Like I just like my heart hurt one time.
It probably was deteriorating. It probably was the string starting to fall apart.
Because I had like a really bad mental breakdown. Not like a mental breakdown, more emotional.
Emotional breakdown, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like shit, and then it hurts.
And then I'm like, I googled heart attack symptoms, and I'm like, well, nothing. I don't match any of these.
You ever get random sharp pains in just random parts of your body, and you think, oh my god,
this is it.
My organs are shutting down.
This is what it's like.
What are those?
I don't know.
Is it growing pain? Is it growing pains or shifting pains? Is that what it must be? It must
I've
be.
never really been good at describing pains to people. Like, I feel it, but that's how it feels to me. I can't put it in words because what you feel might be completely different. You know,
I just get random sharp pains like I'm getting poked everywhere. Like my organ is getting poked somewhere. I'm like, is that growing pains? Like it
Okay, I
happens.
know what you're talking about. I've
it
had
happens
those here and there.
It just happens
It's,
here and there.
very rare.
Sometimes I just get like I feel my heart like get like poked every time it beats, and I'm like, ow, 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 just for like a little bit, like for a minute, then it's gone.
I don't have that.
I'm like, it's gone. I'm still alive, so I'm like, I'm told I'm healthy, so I guess nothing like that. Sometimes I can feel like it's weird. Like sometimes in parts of your body, I'll feel like my heartbeat and like my arm, like just like on top of my arm, I'll feel like a pulse.
Huh.
Like I usually can't feel it there, so why can I feel it now? Like I don't know if it's because the muscles tensed up or like locked for some reason, or just it's weird. Like I can't do that now, but like just once in a while it like hurt and I'll feel it pulse through my arm, and I'm like, that's
Like
weird.
a throbbing?
Yeah, like throbbing. That's what it is. That's the word. Like I can feel throbbing like places like you can't like feel pulses. That's kind of weird. It's janky. You wouldn't think you'd be able to do that. It's kind of weird. But you know they developed a sleeve that you can put over your heart that's electromagnetic, and it'll keep your heart beating forever. I think that's janky. It's
Yeah.
cool.
It's cool. I don't know if we should be doing that kind of stuff, though.
Did you know I have a lot of these weird facts. I don't know why. I remember watching some shows that teach me this weird stuff. There was this guy. He took it like he would go out. He'd find fresh roadkill. He's a scientist. He wasn't just like he's weird, creepy that does that. He like takes it because he needed fresh organic matter, and you can't just like drag someone's body away. So
Yeah, I guess that's wrong.
he found a wolf that just like died of a heart attack. When you think about it, he was like describing it. He was like, when you think about it, if someone's heart fails, their organs and everything else is still fine. So what he would do is he would plug it in his muscles to little electropads.
Yeah.
Like you use for like you can work for like working out, but he had like special ones that would like stab into the muscle or whatever and everything. And he had it, and it would just be a constant electric current. And he found out if you put it at a certain amperage or something, what it would do is it would make one muscle tense up and the other loosen, and then all of a sudden it would change and go the other direction. So he would set this up. He would put it in all four legs of this wolf, and it would be somehow it's an instinctual or whatever how to walk. And if you put it all at the same time and you just turn it on, the dog would start walking.
The dead dog?
The dead dog would just start walking. And I'm like, what? I remember just watching because it would know which pattern, whatever. Apparently, it's just instinctual. I don't know if he had like certain frequencies, like at like a time turn on and off. Like I don't know if he programmed it or it was still like a connection to like the brain or whatever. I was like, if you think about it, if you can bypass the heart with
Like nerves,
with electronics wise, because you wouldn't need the blood flow for that. You would just use the electricity. Like there's actually this really cool kit. Like it's really cheap. If you go to somebody's like there's this really cool kit you can get online for cheap. I remember watching some demonstrations. You would have these electropads that would go to one arm, like someone's wrist, and someone else's wrist, like one to the elbow, another elbow, and you have a battery connected to the one person, and the other person would be, I guess I would say, the victim in this. Didn't they have a battery on their end? So when you would move your arm, it would force their arm to do it too, out of their complete. No matter what they would do, they couldn't resist. The muscles tensity would go through, like it would electronically wise shock the other person's muscles to do the exact same thing. I was like, if you think about it, you could stuff somebody in a suit this way and completely control them.
Yeah.
The exact way, and I was like, against their entire will. I'm like, that's cool and weird.
We could use that for paralyzed people.
But then somebody else would have to control them, though. They can't control themselves.
Yeah, they could. Their brain still functions. It's just the nervous system that's damaged.
I guess it is true because the people will get, like, if they lose their arm, they'll have attachments on it it'll feel the muscles firing and it will move it for them.
Mm-hmm.
But usually it's slow and efficient, but they're starting to come up with stuff that's
like,
really fast.
That in reverse.
Yeah.
So
Think about
you
it
just
backwards.
read the brain signal and then give a signal to the leg. You just have those things implanted in your legs so you can walk and stuff.
Yes.
But are we going to use that technology to help people or kill people? Probably kill people.
Probably kill people.
Because that's what we do.
Did you know they found a strand of DNA in someone's brain that it's like 1% off from being binary code? A computerized binary? I heard about that one time. And I was like, so brains, like DNA is, if you like decode it right, it's literally just binary as well. And I'm like, that's kind of weird that it just happens to be binary, you know what I mean? That's not like some weird ass code or whatever, or weird makeshift letters or whatever.
But it's electrical impulses. It's on and off.
To be fair, brain power is electrical impulses.
Yeah.
So I guess it would make sense it's binary. It's weird on and off.
You have on and off and different voltages.
That's probably what it is. That's probably it. That's probably what the binary is. And that's kind of weird. That's cool, though.
It's scary. It really makes you wonder, what is life really?
What is it? Brain function. It's weird.
Brain function, just little electrical impulses. Oh, I was listening to this. I don't think it was a podcast, but maybe it was.
Okay.
I was doing it at work, and this lady had like really bad depression, like brain depression. Like she just wasn't sad about stuff, but like she would just sit there and feel horrendous for no reason.
For no reason. It was just
yeah,
the only emotion she had, huh?
Yeah, and it was something in her brain. So what they did is they went into her brain and put two little implants, two little diodes.
Yeah.
And they would send a voltage across the diodes
to bypass the depression.
And depending on the voltage, it changed her emotions. Weird. So they dialed it in and they set the right voltage. It was like 3 point something volts. So which is a lot for a brain.
So to bypass the depression stage.
So it would make her feel happy. But they turned it up too high.
Oh.
And she's like, I've never felt worse in my life. I have no idea how to describe this to you. Because, like, it was that bad.
Too much voltage to your brain.
Yeah.
Weird.
Like, it wasn't like a pain, but just her whole existence changed.
You think it would because it's like your brain.
Well, like, you know how, like, substances change your like, if you drink enough, you get drunk. It changes your state. You're not right. So, like...
It was doing that to her.
It was doing something like that to her. Completely changing who she was.
Weird.
Just by a little dial.
Weird, dude. I guess that makes sense, but, like... That is kind of weird that you can just, like, bypass it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty weird that you can do, like, open brain surgery where you just cut off someone's skull. And there's, like, there's the brain halfway sticking out of someone's head. And just...
They're okay. And alive. And you're just poking at it.
And you're just, like, moving the nerves out of the way. Just, like, get to certain parts. Like, who somehow figured out if you dig through this layer of the brain, it gets to this part of the brain that controls this?
We gotta think, like, 50 years ago, we were still doing frontal lobotomies.
Just sticking in the needle up the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, up the nose.
No, they stick it in the eyeball socket.
Did they?
Yeah.
I knew they do it up the nose.
No, I mean, maybe some did, but all the ones I ever learned about, they would go through the eyeball. They would go above the eye, I think. And they'd stick it in.
Mash up the
brain.
Take
a hammer, bust through, because you have skull behind your eyeball. So they would bust through that, and then they would just sit there, and you know how, like, you're trying to scrape rust out of a hole or something? You're just like...
Oh, dude.
That's what they would do to people.
Yeah, I know, but I thought it was just directly up the... I thought up the nose, if you broke through the skin behind the cartilage, it was a direct way to the brain. I thought that's why they did it that way. I didn't know they would have to pop through the skull, like, through the eye. I thought it was just easy break through the cartilage of the nose, and that's how they did it.
I've always seen them go through the eye.
Well, I always thought it was the nose. I didn't know that. Yeah. I'm sure you're right. I'm sure you could do
frontal lobotomy.
Either way, I guess either way, it gets to the front of the brain, but that's... I mean, obviously that's illegal now.
Like they were just doing this to people.
That's illegal now, but...
Well, it is, but you gotta think our grandparents were growing up.
With that?
Yeah. Like, my
That was like if you're mentally insane, though.
I know, but, like, that's still during that same time. And, like, eugenics. Did you learn about, like, any eugenics or whatever? Like, planned...
That sounds familiar. What is it?
It's like they would sterilize, like, Native Americans, whatever, so they couldn't reproduce. Or, like, they would sterilize the mentally insane so they couldn't reproduce. They would just go in there and, like, give them vasectomies against their will. They would... I read a story because I had to take a college class on it. So what they would do to the Cherokee women is they would go in for, like, to have their girl parts looked at, and then they would just be sedated, put under, and have their tubes tied.
What?
And they'd go years without knowing it. So then what happened is, in, like, the 70s and 80s, these women grew up and started trying to have kids, and they're like, why can't I get pregnant? And they'd go to doctors, and they'd be like, oh yeah, your tubes were tied, 20 years ago.
I'm sure by then it's too late. They're already it's already decayed.
Yeah, so those people just couldn't have kids. And that was the government's plan.
I didn't know about
eugenics. Yeah.
That's janky.
I learned that all in a college class I took. It was called human diversity, but it was anthropology.
That's janky.
Big weird class. It was an interesting class. I learned a lot of things.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And, like, our government, and like in the 50s. Like I said, my grandpa was born in 1939, so 21 puts him at what? 40, so 60. 1960s. They were still doing it. So he was a teenager when they were doing that to people.
Weird, dude. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's really janky. That's cool, though. It's cool that you can
not that long ago. Like, cars existed and stuff like that. People, like, the modern era.
Yeah.
I
don't mean it's cool that people are doing that, but it's cool as in the fact that they just managed to get away with that shit. Like how could they hide it for so long?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's cool that somebody can manage to pull that off, but shouldn't, obviously. But I'm just it's crazy that somebody did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess you can just hide that for so long. That's weird.
I learned about the lobotomies in psychology class in high school.
Janky.
Mm-hmm. One guy, they interviewed him, and they're like, he didn't know he had it done. They did it to him when he was a kid. So he just grew up like that,
Weird.
And they interviewed him, and he said, "I've never been able to quite put my finger on it, but I know I'm not like other people. I know I'm different. I feel I'm different, but I don't know what."
Huh.
And it turns out he had a lobotomy. Because he had issues with, like, relationships and, like, emotions and stuff like that. Stuff that makes you you. Because that's all in your frontal lobe. And that's exactly what they're destroying when they go in there and, like...
They must not have done it enough where it become brain like entirely brain dead, but like
Yeah.
they must have done it just enough that he felt weird.
They killed the part of your brain that gives you your personality.
I thought it would totally make you brain dead. You would just sit there, and the only thing that would happen is your instinct of
You
like
could still
breathing.
function.
Really?
Like, you could talk.
Dude, I swear they
'Cause
would
it
mash
didn't
it up
mess-
so good. Like you would literally just sit there, and you wouldn't know how to like move or anything. You would just know how to, like, instinct wise. You would only be relying on instinct wise, like a breathing, and that's it. I thought that was the only thing that would happen. Like that's the only thing you could do, and you would sit there because you wouldn't know how to move your muscles.
I
You
think
would just
if
sit
you
there and breathe.
destroyed too much of it, but like if you just destroy like the front part of
A
it,
little bit.
you just kill the personality. But like the cognitive and stuff is on the side. Like they could still talk and learn and do stuff in math, but like because all the instinct is back here,
Back.
your vision's back here, your hearing's on one side down here, and all your like processing are on the sides here. So just the front part. The whole front is one thing. It's like a car's hood and doors.
Mhm.
There's one hood up front, which takes up the front, and then
Mhm.
you have the doors on the side. They're like different sections.
I hear it's mostly the right side of the brain that takes care of the left side of your body, and the left side of the right side. I'm not sure if that's true.
Yeah, that's
that
what
actually true?
that's what they taught us in psychology.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
actually true. I always thought that was just complete bullshit. Like I thought it would be totally like multiple parts are doing this at the same time. Like I didn't think it'd be literally directly as one half is done left side and the other half is doing right side.
Well, it's not quite.
It's a little bit off, I'm sure, but like
Yeah, it's not
but,
quite
like, it's
50-50.
like mostly it really is like that though. Like
Yeah,
most sides of
'cause,
the
like-
brain is taking care of mostly the opposite side.
But you're using
But
both
why?
at the same time because, like, I don't remember
Why
which
are you
side,
always doing
so I'm
both?
not exactly, but, like, by your ear, on one side of your
Mhm.
body, is your talking and you being able to communicate with people. On the other side, above the other ear, is, like, understanding people. So if you have issues with those parts of your brain, there's some people that can talk but don't understand what they're saying and don't understand others. Then there's other
weird.
people that can't talk but can understand what you're saying to them. Because
That's weird.
it's the opposite part of the brain.
Yeah.
So each one, the receiving and the sending, is on each side of your brain,
That's
right by your ears. But
Janky.
like, if one's fucked up,
There's no like you have to be able to give and receive to make a full
Yeah.
connection. But
Mhm.
like if you can't
they
do
can't
that,
do that.
yeah, I always think about that. What if those people like are actually completely brain dead? Like after they were like they learned like they grew up or whatever, and they for some like something happened, they committed a crime or whatever, and they did like lobotomy, and they totally brain dead him where they would just sit there and drool. Could they still, since that part of the brain where they can receive, could they still actually just hear you as they're sitting there and they
Yeah, they probably understand everything that's going on.
they're probably gonna know everything's going on, but they can't control their body.
Yeah.
Dude, imagine that. Just be sitting there and you just like you can't like you really can't move your eyes or anything. You just like
Yeah.
sit there and blank stare, and you could totally hear everything and feel everything, but you're just sitting there and you couldn't control it. That's janky.
Mhm.
It's like just being forced to sit there like strapped to like a chair basically, and you couldn't move or anything.
But
You
like in
just sit
your
there.
own body.
Like
How
you're in your own
scary that-
body.
Yeah.
Like you have no connection to your body. You're just like your brain is like trying to do stuff, but you couldn't do it. You're just like, what the fuck's going on? What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, that's why life's scary, because you can fuck up your existence so bad.
You get in a car accident, you smash your front of your like head in the steering wheel.
Yeah.
There you go. Your brain dead.
That happened to my mom, and she had bad memory loss ever since.
Really?
She just forgets stuff. Yeah, it was a brand new Ford Focus, the year they came out, 2000.
The first ones, yeah.
The very first. I mean, they'd been in the UK for a little bit,
Yeah,
a
but
couple
now,
months,
first ones
but
in the
like they were the
US.
first ones in the US. Everybody was saying it was a good car, so that was the first car my parents bought brand new.
Really?
The only one they've ever bought brand new at that. Like every other car they've ever had has been like used or whatever.
Yeah.
The only brand new car they got it from the dealership, and within like 2 months or something like that, we got in an accident. There was a single cab F-150,
Mm.
and it had a parking brake handle, and there was an autistic kid in the passenger seat.
Oh.
So it was the truck, us, and then a purple Saturn. So the kid yanked the e-brake, and the truck locked up on the highway.
Oh,
So
wow.
my mom hit the brakes because she was driving. I was like 2 or 3. I was in the back seat. So we hit the brakes. So the Saturn rear-ended us and pushed us under the truck.
Oh, that's right.
So it like smashed the whole, like, it was, the front of the car looked like a ramp. I
Oh.
used to have pictures. I haven't seen them in like 5 years.
I'm sure you don't want to look at them either.
I mean, they're not like, it don't bother me. I used to take it in for like show and tells at school. Like, look, I almost died. But what happened is it was a recall later because the car was riddled with problems. Like one of the worst cars ever to come out.
Fusion?
No, the Focus.
I mean, the Focus.
Yeah, the first gen Focus when it first came out. So what happened is she hit her head on the steering wheel and then the airbag went off.
Oh, dude, no,
Yeah.
that's bad, dude. That would throw your head right back. So you go
Yeah.
forward and then,
Mhm.
dude, that's whiplash. That's whiplash or a
Yeah.
snapped neck.
So she
At-
didn't
at
even
worst.
she didn't like completely forgot the previous 2 weeks. Like just completely like
Dude, that could have been like years.
Yeah.
Of damage. Like, you know how much like difference in like brain damage could have caused like
Mhm.
a years, like a decade. Like I guess not a decade, but like 10 years of her life disappeared. You're lucky it's just 2 weeks, but like I'm sure the more damage it would have been the farther back.
Yeah.
Probably. So that must have been a pretty good size for brain damage for like 2 weeks, but like it could have been way worse to like years. Like that's
yeah.
just think about it, like because I'm sure it's like only millimeters off difference, and like as time goes back, probably in the wherever it is in the brain,
Mm-hmm. That's
So, like,
scary.
millimeter more, it could have been a year. Like, you know what I mean? Like it could be that big of a jump. Like who knows?
Yeah.
That's-
Or
that's-
completely like a whole new person.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, life is scary.
There's some people that will like die, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, his brain just like had a Windows error, and they just reboot it, like by like letting them sleep and then like wake them up or whatever somehow. I don't know what it is. Like they rejump them or whatever. I don't know. And they'll just come out as like totally different person. They don't know who the hell they are. They just like wake up and they think they're a different person. They
yeah,
act
it really
different.
makes you what is consciousness?
Like there was someone, I think there was someone that died in prison, and they came back, and then he didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like he knew like he could speak or whatever. He thought it was like a different person, totally different life. He thought I actually think his name was different. He had his own name, everything. Like he was living a whole different life. He's like, I'd never do anything bad. He thinks he was like some like college student or whatever. Like, but he was like 32 and this and the other. And he totally thought he was a totally different personality. I was like, do you think he was like mimiking a friend that he like knew very well? Like as he was growing up with, and do you think like after he like whatever his actual personality got killed or whatever, his brain resorted to somebody else he knew or something and thought it was him? Like that's weird. Like can you explain that?
I don't know.
Can't. But
You
like
can't. It just like breaks your head.
it's like how the hell does somebody like lose their own personality and just like immediately gain somebody else's? Like if you think about it, you could be able to plug somebody in and literally erase their entire brain
Mm-hmm.
and reprogram it for whatever you want. So eventually you should be able to just like program, like you shouldn't need schooling. You could be able to just plug your head into like something and just immediately learn everything you need to in like a matter of a millisecond. Although you might probably fry your brain that way. Too much information at once.
Yeah.
What is it? Your brain's they actually did this. What is it? The brain can hold 30 terabytes. Or what is it? What is it? There's a max capacity. How much data can a brain hold? I spelled brain wrong as Brian, didn't I? Oh, 1,024 terabytes or a million gigabytes. Jeez. That's how much your brain capacity wise. That's
That's
weird.
pretty big.
That is pretty big.
I wouldn't imagine, but I guess there's a lot going on. Your brain has to do a lot. Because you got to think while you're doing all this like stuff you do during the day,
Uh-huh.
your body's just kicking on in the background, and you have no idea. It's just like pump blood, move arm, grab things, touch things, feel things. Like your brain's just doing a lot.
It's weird how you could like you just like instinctually go up to like grab something with your arm, and then you think about it like, you can't even think about it. You're like,
You just you just do it.
I don't know if you were ever a kid. Like I was looking at it and I was like, how does your arm just like move? Like it's not like in my head I'm saying my arm move up and this at the same
It
time.
just does it.
You're just like, I want to grab that. You just do it. Your muscles just go in a pattern and get it. And you're like, you don't feel it. Like, what are you saying in your head that's doing the arm movement? Like you
Well,
think
it's just those little electrical impulses that's getting sent down your spine and through your nervous system.
Is
It's
it
just activating those
but
muscles?
you don't think about it.
No.
You're just like, I want to grab this. You just do it in a certain pattern. Like, you know how much movement that's taking to like grab something?
Mm-hmm.
It's like weird. You'd think you'd be able to like think about it. Like you don't need to think about it to move your arm. You'd think you'd have like a pattern, but it's not like you can't say it's like a computer code or it's like programmed to move this, do this, to open this or whatever. It's just like in the background of your head, it's telling you to do this in a certain pattern and it knows. It's weird that you can take in information from your eyes to make it into a background process to move your muscles in a certain way without you even thinking about it. It's like, so like in a non-subconscious way, how much stuff would be going on? How much voices, I guess, in quotes, is going on in the back of your head to constantly be saying how much to do? Because you gotta think about breathing, blinking, and this, that, and the other.
Literally everything your body's doing.
Everything. How much of it, like, if you changed all that from code to, like, speech, how much would be playing at the same time? God.
Probably gotta be millions of lines of code.
Millions of lines of code. Constantly at the same time. That'd be crazy. If you actually had that, like, all that stuff transferred from the code to, like, text, and to read how much you'd be processing at once. Just by, like, sitting there. How much is there? Because it's, like, right now, sitting, it's, like, keep your spine aligned to this degree. And it's, like, make sure your muscle is leaning up this way. Keep your spine this way. You think about it, like, how much, because it's keeping you balanced right now. Even, like, sitting. You know, think about it. It's doing that right now, and you're not even thinking about it. You just sit down, you're like, yep. You don't think about a single thing. You'd be brain dead.
Yep,
You'd be brain dead. But right now, your brain's telling a million things to keep your body just, like, standing still and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, and you have thoughts going on top of that.
But that's the subconscious thoughts. You can think about your own thoughts, but your brain's doing other thghts for you.
Right.
So I wonder, do you ever, like, I always wonder, like, is it actually like a second voice in your head that's controlling everything for you? But you're only controlling the one part, as in, like, thinking wise yourself.
You ever tried meditation?
A little bit, yeah.
Have you ever, like, experienced a different feeling?
Yeah, a little bit.
Because what you can do, what the theory behind meditation is
you can unlock that part.
You don't unlock that part. You just, because it's always there. The other part is just noisy. So if you can sit there and don't think about the thoughts, be the observer of the thoughts. Your breathing gets real slow, your body gets real heavy, and you're just kind of, like, floating there.
Mm-hmm. Like shit.
It's nice.
It is nice.
It's a little bit difficult to get into.
It is hard. You're probably never supposed to reach there, you know what I mean? No.
Well, plenty of people do. It's like, if you meditate all the time and you practice, you get better at turning off your head.
Have you seen this guy? They're studying him right now. I'm hoping they find something cool about this guy. He can control his body so well that he went swimming in negative 20-degree water in Antarctica for like 5 hours. And his body temperature, they had a temperature gauge on him the entire time. And his skin was always 90 degrees.
Like he's controlling everything.
His temperature. He's like put power into temperature.
Maybe he's just able to
reach those thoughts.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay. And he got cancer. Like they found out he got cancer. A day later, gone. He's like, I just told my body to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
mind never matter because you can just think.
Mind never matter. But like,
you know how true
that's supposed to be locked. Like that's probably supposed to be locked out of your own existence. Like it's supposed to be like the body will take care of it because you're too stupid to figure it out. Like it knows you're too stupid.
Maybe that's what they want us to think. They want you to think you're too stupid to be able to control yourself. Because if you can control yourself
completely,
you're gonna make the life you want to live for yourself.
There's also this guy. He's like, I was like, here's the reason they probably don't like your own brain probably doesn't want you to control it because this guy's like, hey, watch this, I can just stop my own heart, and he's like, he thinks about it for 2 seconds, and they have this guy on a whatever, and his heart stops for like 5 minutes, and he's just like sitting there like, okay, can you restart? He's like, probably, and he just like sits there for like 2 seconds, and it just starts beating again. And I'm like, that's probably why they don't want you to have their own power because you could probably just kill yourself immediately.
Yeah.
I was like, that's crazy. So this guy's like, I'm just gonna stop my heart real quick, and just does it. I'm like, that means you're really in those thoughts. Like it's like constantly, that's saying, hey, pump now, pump now, pump now. He's in that thought. It's like, hey, stop pumping. That's crazy that he's like thinking about that. That's a weird thought to think about. That you can just like control your heart, be like, yeah, just whatever.
Yeah.
Just done. He's like, yeah, you can just stop your heartbeat. I'm like, you can kill yourself right now that way.
Well, they tell you like if you have anxiety, they want you to sit there and focus on your breathing and your heart rate because you can control yourself. Get yourself back down to a normal level.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're freaking out, your heart rate's through the roof, you can just be like,
calm down.
And then you just calm down.
It is weird to think of. It's like, what the hell? Don't want that to happen though. Some people, man, they have their own. They can just control their body so well.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's like, I'm getting sick. Oh, body, hey, fight this off, and just does it.
Yeah.
It's like everyone else's does that too, but over time because it's like doing it subconsciously. But like if you can think about it with your own consciousness, it's so much quicker. It's like you got to know better. It's kind of like it's like your subconscious is always running a scan, just trying to check everything constantly. But while if your subconscious, like you know you're sick, you can know faster than your own brain, you'd be like, fix it now.
Yeah.
It's like override. It's like overriding it. I'm like, that's insane. So they're studying him right now to see if there's a way to like unlock that, or if he's just like special, or he has a special thing in DNA to like bypass it, which is probably a genetic disability. You think about it, it probably is a disability to be able to do that. do it so well because he can keep his own body temperature to whatever he wants, and everything like that. Like to have complete control of your own body. That has to be like a disorder. Now, not all disorders are bad. There's some cool ones out there that'll help you out.
Right.
But you think that has to be a disorder.
Yeah. Something went wrong.
Something has to be
wrong. But in a good way.
But it's a good way. There's people out there that are born without. Well, they have nerves in their body, but their nerves don't fire pain as pain registers.
Mm-hmm.
There's this. Here's the thing though. Most of the people that have that, which is very rare by the way, it's almost impossible to have. But if you have it, most of them have like no feeling in their stomach either, so they don't know if they're hungry or not. So they have to be on a food watch basis constantly because they won't know they're hungry and they won't know they're stuffed. So they'll either find out by throwing up, or they'll die of starvation, which has happened to a couple people before they realized they don't know what hungry is. So they have to be constantly watching and monitor the recommended amount that they need per day, and they have to hit that. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. But there was this like little girl that would grow up, and whenever she didn't get her way, she would like cut off her finger and shit, and she wouldn't feel anything, and she knew it was like bad or whatever, so they'd freak out. And eventually, I'm sure they grew out of that phase. Like, that's just a child thing to do. Like if they could figure that out, if they didn't get away with it, they're like, oh, let's do that. They wouldn't know. I'm like, dude, you can't do that. I mean, you think that'd be against your instinct, but I guess you can always go against it. But like,
yeah, you can
just think about
instinct.
I always thought like, man, it'd be cool to have no nerves. But now that you think about it that way, it's whatever. Like I already don't have feeling in my hand for heat because I burned it so many times. I guess it's like picking a scab so many times, it will stop healing after a while and just scar up. I guess it's the same with me keep constantly burning my hands over and over again. I can still feel cold and everything. I can still feel heat in my curves, my fingers, but in the actual pads, I can't feel heat. It's really janky. And I'm like, people have this on their entire body, like born that way for every feeling. I'm like, that means you'll never know what like touch feels like. You know what I mean? I guess you'll never know what it's like to be pricked by a cactus, but at the same time, you never know what feel like soft is.
Yeah, that's weird.
That means you won't find out if you're sleeping on the wrong side until you wake up the next day and your muscles are locked. And then you're like, why can't you won't even feel that they're locked. You just be like, why can't I move my muscle right? It feels weird. But in reality, it's in pure pain. So it's like, I guess you have pros and cons, but I feel like the con list is kind of way more up there. Some people just don't have that. Like I said, what is it? I had the picture. I found the picture the other day. It was this, you can be born with purple eyes, and it has all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you won't have periods or, oh god, the list. You won't have hair on like your chest or anywhere besides your eyebrows and your actual top of your head. So no mustache hair, no beards, no anything, anywhere else. So it's like yours like no need to shave. You don't need to shave. And what is it? There's like other stuff that comes with it. It's pure pros, no cons. And I'm like, how could it be like such a perfect disformed, like I guess it's a messed up DNA strand, I would assume. How can you have it so perfect that it's literally one specific dysphorality that's just perfection. Just perfection. And I'm like, that's weird. You'd think there'd be like cons in there that'd mess up, but no, it's literally only the pros.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess it's
sometimes possible.
I guess that's cons, as in you're supposed to have facial hair for warmth protection, but like that's obviously back in caveman day, but now you don't need that really. So I guess it's now pros. It would have been cons a long time ago, but now it's pros. The chance is like 0.0002 in a billion, but that's pretty cool. So if you know somebody that way that has that, that's like there's only like probably like with that percentage, it's probably like only like 3 people on Earth at a time. Maybe. Yeah, I guess more than that probably. There's a lot of people. So that's kind of cool. Purple. Having purple eyes, and you'd be like, is that contact or is that like the disability? Which is not really a disability. It's like a fucking upgrade.
Yeah, that's an upgrade.
That's an upgrade. Unless you wanted a beard, then sorry for you.
Yeah.
But I don't know if maybe it only happens in girls though. Because it says about the period thing, or do you think that can happen to guys too?
Probably guys too.
Probably. But that's probably one of the major benefits is no periods. But you think that'd be bad for you though, because the entire point of having a period is to clean yourself out. So would that not happen? Would it go through? What is it when you get an infection in vaginal? Why is it clear? It's clears itself out during an emergency process. Oh god, it like discharge. Yeah, it's called a discharge. Vaginal discharge. That cleans it out emergency wise too. If it has like an infection or whatever.
It's gross.
It's gross. Yeah, it's probably feels worse. Probably, I would assume. I don't know, but I
Could not imagine.
cannot imagine. That's weird. If guys had periods, we'd be writing our names in blood. Like, yeah. Yeah, okay. I don't know, man.
I don't know. Life is completely different for women.
When you hit 50 or whatever, it'll
Yeah, you have
for women.
menopause.
yeah, it retightens everything and it stops. I'm like, that's weird. So it's like you literally get younger. Like I said, it's weird. But alligators, they don't die of age. I told you that one.
Yeah.
They don't die. They only die of diseases and heart attacks. And I'm like, because because like eventually for us, our cells deteriorate faster than they replenish. For alligators, their cells just replenish faster than they can deteriorate forever. And I'm like, so if they didn't get diseases or whatever, they could live forever. That's weird. Why don't we have that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why can't we like?
Have that same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I got
Or like implement it.
yeah. You think you'd be able to like code that or whatever,
Yeah.
mess with somebody and figure it out? That is weird. Why would we? What is it? It's after the age of 23, our bodies start deteriorating faster than they replenish, which is such a young age considering you live to like 100. You can live to like 100.
Yeah, but if you look at like all of history, this is like the longest our lifespans have ever been. Most people in like the 1800s and stuff only made it to 20 something anyway.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of weird to think of like whenever a machine breaks down, you can just replace the part. But like if a body's like brain just malfunctions and turns off,
You're just dead.
you're dead. And it's like you can't replace a brain. Like there goes your personality. But like someone could be missing an arm and they can just like rip off your arm and put it on there and reattach it and be like, there you go, you have a new arm. And it's like that's kind of true. If you get like ripped off at the actual bone, you can have it if it's the exact same size. Like I'm sure it's really rare, but like that was a bad example. I could have used like a lung replacement, like lung transfer. You could just like rip someone's lung out and put it in someone else, and it'll be like okay. So it's like you think about it, it's the same as machines.
Yeah, well, they do kidney transplants and stuff like that too.
It's not
Heart
as easy.
transplants.
It's not as easy as unscrewing a part in a machine and just replacing it, but you have to like go for the precision surgery and everything. So like clearly you weren't meant to have parts replaced.
No.
You clearly were meant to just die. If you fucked up, you're dead.
Yeah.
But like it's weird that you've overcome that and been like, yeah, we can do it though. Not supposed to, but we can. Like blood types though, it makes no sense why there's different blood types to me. Why would there be different blood types? Because they don't work with each other.
Right.
Except for O negative, which I don't know why. I know there's a reason for it, but I don't know why. But why would everyone have different blood types? And the same organ, and the thing goes with the organs too. If it's been in contact with other blood type, it won't work in other people's bodies. I think. I don't think you can just like clean off the blood and shove it in somebody else and think it's already like programmed in quotes to work in that blood type. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that is a weird one.
It's like why? It's like why though? Why is there different blood types? Do you think everyone started with the same blood type back in a long time ago and it just happened to like disform and change over time?
No, I feel like we probably have always had different.
Why? Well, do you think it's like a preventive to keep you from like getting like try to replace parts? Do you think it's like it was designed to be a preventive from you like getting organ transplants and everything to deter it? Do you think it's supposed to be like a natural selection thing? Like if you're whatever failed, clearly there was something wrong with you, you deserve to die.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Think? There's no way to prove it though. There's no way to prove why there's different blood types. But like I wonder what the real reason is. You can't ever say anything's wrong or right.
I think it just depends on what you believe.
It is more of a belief thing, but there's no science for it. There's no way to prove it. There's no way to physically prove
so I'm thinking
why.
from like a scientific standpoint. All right, yeah, but like why? Why would that need to be a thing? Why wouldn't we be able to just interchange parts?
You think you'd be able if somebody else grew up with you and like they died and you needed a part, you think you'd be able to just take it from somebody?
Right.
You think that'd be a good design, but no.
But if you look at it from like a evolutionary standpoint,
No.
We're just like organic meat bags. So like
it is true.
there's really no we just kind of work because we do. It's not like there was any thought put into it. I mean, like I said, it depends on what you believe. If you believe there was thought put into us, then you could argue, well, why can't we just interchange parts? Why is there different blood types? Why all this? Why that? But if you look at it from like evolutionary standpoint, you're just like, oh, well, we're just meat bags, so we're lucky to be alive in the first place.
I'm sure that we were never ever spent like I'm sure we were never supposed to design like disease preventives. I'm sure we were designed to like die as fast as we reproduce, so we didn't like take over and destroy things. I'm sure, but then we eventually were like, fuck that. let's figure out why. I'm sure we were never supposed to do that because now look at us. What is it? We can't produce enough food for everybody that we have right now. We would need 3 Earths to produce the amount of food for the amount of people we have right now, or something like that. I think I remember that in biology right now. That we were at that point where we would need 3 Earths I think to get the amount of resources, with the exact same amount of resources and everything to sustain our life. And now we're on the decline of people like being perfectly fed and hydrated and everything. We can't do it. I was like, so we're past our limit, our capacity of humans. So it's like, like I said, we probably were never supposed to go that crazy into it. That's weird though, you know what I mean? Why?
That's a lot of whys.
It is a why. But everything leads to another why in scientific terms.
Yeah.
It's janky. It's like, why though?
But it all results back to like why we're here. What is our purpose?
You never know.
Nope.
You never know. You want to say like you just to enjoy it, but
that's what we tell ourselves.
That's what we tell ourselves because there's no explanation.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, when the sun goes out, which what is it? It's like already overdue or whatever, right? Yeah. The sun's already overdue. When it goes out, we're gonna die because we're gonna freeze to death. Mm-hmm. It's like we already know that. And if you think about it, eventually this Earth, I think it's moving off course a little bit, right? Like
it gets farther away from the sun every year, or something like that, or maybe it's closer. It's one of the two.
Either way.
Yeah.
By the time we were ever to get near enough to it to be gone and it'd be dead, it's like we're gonna freeze to death immediately.
Right. So like all of human history is just pointless.
It's like this entire race is gone unless we can find out a way to move to another planet. That's perfect. You gotta think about it. It's weird that we happen to be on a planet with perfect amount of land, water, and organic stuff to like live off of, and being so perfectly set by the sun to have just livable temperatures. That's a really big demand and chances that we just happen to get there. So it's like that's really rare. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's just really rare.
Right, for everything to line up like that. Then it really makes you wonder, like, oh, I just deliver pizzas.
I just deliver pizzas.
Yeah.
You think like it's kind of selfish to think out of it because the universe is undescribably big. It's kind of selfish to think that you're the only people out there.
Oh yeah.
Because like there's no way that we're the only ones. Now I'm not saying like there's aliens that come visit the planet because like why would the fuck would they want to be here? Because I'm sure if they could do that, they've already surpassed anything. There's nothing to learn here, so there's no reason to be here. So I'm not saying that we see aliens or this and that. I don't care. But there definitely has to be someone out there that's probably way more developed and everything, and we're just stage 1, not even on how it is. Like why would they wouldn't bother to be here anyways? There's nothing to prove. But you think about it, like it'd be so selfish to say we're the only people out there, and the universe is just you can't even think about it. Like you can't think of how big it is. There's no way to describe it to anybody, and there's no end of the universe either, really. Unless I don't know what it is, but I remember the Bang Theory, whatever, how it starts expanding. I don't know how they're proving it, but I swear they said it's slowing down, and they're afraid it's going to start collapsing again and explode again. Because they're thinking that happened before, like 3-4 times, and we're like in the 4th time. Do you think that's true, or do you think it's just an expand forever? How does it expand?
But where's it expanding into?
Where is it expanding? Yeah, that's the question. Where's it?
Because
where's the limit? You think there has to be a limit? There's no way to limit.
Because you can't make things like
matter can't be destroyed or created.
So if that's shrinking, whatever volume it's in,
it's becoming
is
a bomb.
Moving into it.
Well, it's being a bomb.
Like the outside. Like you know what I mean? Like
a glass bottle.
If I have this glass bottle and I move it one direction, it's pushing that air out of the way, but that air is going around the bottle to the other side.
Yeah, it's not like destroying the air.
Unless it's a vacuum, this bottle can never exist in nothing. It's always going to be in some sort of larger container. And if the universe is contracting and expanding, what larger container is that in?
What is it? Well, yeah, what does it expand to? Because nothing can be created or destroyed. I know there's no air in space. It's a vacuum, though. That's why. It's not moving into anything because it's a vacuum.
But there has to be edges. There's no way it can just go on forever.
There's no way to reach the end, I'm sure. The end of where the edge that may or may not exist or whatever is so far away that we could not physically get there at all in the human's lifetime. Like, unless you were going, even light speed, reaching the end, a human would be dead after 100 years. Or in whatever ship would hit something and die or whatever. There's no way to reach the edge of it. The edge, in quotations. Like, what is the edge? Mm-hmm. What is the edge? There's no edge. If it says it's expanding, because that's what they said, it's expanding, which, like, I guess you can prove because the stars around us are moving outwards in the perfect direction, whatever, blah, 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 whatever, doesn't matter. Where are they going?
Right.
Where's the edge? There's no edge. Mm-hmm. It's hard to think of, like, there's no edge. Like, like if you have a shoebox and you put like a little marble in it and you pretend that's us, and you move everything like a bunch of marbles in it, you move it to the edge, you would think there's a container, but in our theory that it's expanding, it's going past the container.
There's a lot of flaws in all these theories. There's a lot of big.
So yeah, I understand you can prove that it's expanding because everything's moving in the direction. That makes sense. But where is it expanding to?
Mhm.
And it sucks is there's no way to get that answer. It's like I wish we could just have the answer, but at the same time, I feel like that would kill it. Like I feel like if you got the answer, it'd be just some stupid ass answer. That'd be like, it'd just be like because it connects to other universes. That even though there's only one universe, it's like it's something stupid like that. That's it. And the wall is actually a trillion, thousand, billion crap miles away, and the edge is like all black hole, so that's why it doesn't reach anything. You don't, man. I guess black holes will theoretically teleport you. You know what I mean? Because the design is it. But it reduces you to atoms, and it doesn't reconstruct you. It destroys you into atoms, and it throws you out into a random location, the different black hole. So if there's a way to control that and make you reassemble as atom-wise, which is impossible from what I've seen, I don't think there's a way to redo that. So that's theoretically the teleportation. So do you think like the edges are actually just black holes that just like throw edges? So it's like an endless loop every direction in like this theoretical box that it just like sends you one edge, like in a side scroller, you go one way and it just teleports you the other way. Do you think it's like that, but in every direction constantly?
Well, that black hole theory is how the game Portal works.
Yeah, like Portal.
Yeah.
But I doubt it. That's a weird answer.
But
there's
even still, if it's just an endless
but it's still
loop,
expanding though. I mean, I guess
it's got to be in something larger. But then that something larger has to be in something larger because there can't just be nothing.
You know how small our planet is?
Yeah.
It's like it's gigantic and a million miles or whatever wide, but like
the rest of the universe is just like uncomprehendable.
There's no way to achieve that.
Mm-mm.
Even in like space travel or whatever, and if you achieve the speed of light, you'll never reach it. And theoretically, the speed of light's the fastest thing you can get to. Theoretically. What do you hit the edge? Like, there's no edge. Like, do you think okay, theoretically, if there was no edge and it's constantly expanding, you would eventually be able to bypass all the stars and just appear abyss. Yeah. Theoretically, until the stars expand into that abyss. What is the abyss? Is it just the continuous vacuum that's like right outside the atmosphere? Like, I don't get it. It's not, you can't wrap your head around something. You know what I mean? It's too driven, and it's like clearly people are like wanting to get the answer from it, but it's like there's no achievable way to get it.
Nope. I think we're too stupid.
We're too stupid. Oh yeah, but by the time you would ever figure out something else, this planet will be destroyed. Obviously.
Yep.
The sun will be gone before.
That's why nothing matters.
Even if you achieve it, it's like, yeah, I did it, and then the next day the Earth could be gone.
Yep. That's why the short time you get here, you're supposed to make the most of it and live.
100 years is not long. It's very not long. You can't learn a lot in that time. That generation won't find out anything in that amount of time. It takes generations to figure out anything, and even then, that's barely progressing you to anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're kind of like at that loop now.
Yeah, we're at a nice little standstill.
Because unless we can find out some magical way to get more fuel into rockets, we can't get any farther, per se, unless we make bigger rockets.
Yeah, our current level of physics understanding is we're not there.
We figured out how to get to space, but we can't figure out how to get too far. I mean, theoretically, it's far for us on Earth, but like it's not far there.
But the problem is there's a vacuum. Otherwise, we would have just made like a solar-powered something. But you can't turn solar power into propulsion when there's no atmosphere.
It's true. It's a vacuum. There's no air to push. You can't push anything out there if it's a vacuum.
Right. Because
there's nothing there.
Because we use like hot air balloons and stuff like that. We manipulate the atmosphere.
Yeah, it's moving the air around. But there's nothing out there to do that. So you need you need fuel and propulsion yourself, and you can't turn solar into that.
But like theoretically, that propulsion has to push off of something, right? What is it pushing off of?
I think it's the thrusters are pushing the flame off the other edges of the flame. Like the flame that's coming out, it's just pushing off that flame. With a new fuel spray, the flame is pushing off the other flame, which is pushing back. But even then, that doesn't make sense.
Well, if you look at it from equal and opposite force, the rocket ship is also pushing back on that thrust. So maybe it's pushing off of the rocket ship. But
maybe it's pushing.
But the reason it's able to propulse it is because it's putting out more this way than it is
just
this
like
way.
jumping off the ground because you're pushing your energy
Like
into
if we
the
were
ground.
if we were up in space floating and we pushed each other, we would just like
Endlessly float. You have to push off of each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't just like swim towards somebody in space.
Right.
You can't
you have
grab
no
the
control.
air.
You know how scary that would be?
Oh, floating it forever away in
Just,
space.
just to float away, like you just slowly starve to
Hasn't
death
that happened
in
to
the abyss of
somebody? I
nothingness.
know I see that in movies, but has that happened to anybody yet?
I don't know. That'd be a horrible way to die.
I think they have security stuff like that, so that wouldn't happen. But like, I know you see it in like space movie all the time, but I don't think has it actually happened. Has someone ever just floated away in space and just never be found?
I don't know, but that's like a lot of psychological horror.
Dude, imagine. You know how you'd only live like 3 days because you die.
But you know how slow those 3 days would be?
Dude, literally looking at nothing 3 days,
Yeah.
and you know you couldn't do anything. You just float away. And that means, and your body wouldn't really deteriorate too much because your oxygen would be used up because you would die from oxygen loss first. So there'd be no oxygen, and no oxygen,
Yeah.
you wouldn't deteriorate fast. That means if there was like other people out there in the universe, they would just eventually find a mystery thing. They wouldn't even probably think of it as a life being at that point because it's probably so insignificant. It'd probably just be like an ant, finding an ant in space. You know what I mean? Just floating away. They're like, where the fuck did this come from? You can't reach it. But if there's somebody else in that stage, someone far away like that, why do I feel like we hit our peak and our peak is nowhere near where we needed to be?
Our peak is just nowhere.
Our peak is now.
Because we were probably never supposed to like try to figure it out. We were probably just meant to live and not think about stuff.
Like, we'll figure out how to live, and then once you find that out, you're like, okay, what's next? There always is a game of what's next, but like now you're
Yeah.
like everything's been invented and everything's been, like design wise. Unless you really want to spend a lot of money making a bigger ass rocket, which which sucks because it's only gonna be heavier, so it's gonna burn more fuel, so you can't get any farther. Like I said, it's just like the same thing as speed wise.
There's got to be something more efficient than burning fuel, though. Like that's same. It's very rudimentary.
Yeah, that's been what we're doing forever is
Yeah.
burning and making fire.
Yeah, there's got to be another way to propulse yourself.
You just launch another car into space.
No, like some sort of atom splitting. Like you use the solar to heat things, and then that really like to
They
heat
have
elements.
atom propulsion cannons where you can make atoms.
Yeah,
You can link atoms together.
use that.
Yeah, you use that to create elements. I think it's cool because like hydrogen is the most popular, and it's atom one. And you
So
put
just-
two of those together, it makes something else, and then you can put three together, and you can make any element with that theoretically.
Thought helium's number 2.
Yeah, you make helium with two. I'm like, okay, so like, why is everyone saying you were running out of helium if you could just literally make it with hydrogen, which is what the entire atmosphere is made out of? It's like, take that, use the cannon to put them together, and now you won't have a dying element.
Mm-hmm.
I get it; it's probably a slow process and everything, but you shouldn't say you're gonna run out of it because you can make it. I mean, I'm sure it takes a lot of energy to make it, but like at the same time, just use solar to power it to get it going, so you would have an endless amount of any element you'd want. But I feel like at the same time that would flood the market.
Well, that's not an endless amount because you can't.
Create. Oh, yeah, I guess you're not. You're just.
So you're turning
We're
that.
taking.
You're turning that hydrogen into something else. So like if you turn it into helium, you're reducing the amount of hydrogen in the atmosphere, increasing the amount of. So the ratio just changes.
Well, okay. Well, if energy can't be created or destroyed, the sun, like if you pretend it wasn't there, there wouldn't be. And maybe we were fine. Magic. Like somehow we were fine heat wise and light wise. If you just ignored that, the energy. What energy are we're going to get energy from? Probably burning stuff on a planet, and it would change to heat and everything. That's our. That means we only have a certain amount of energy on our planet at a time, and then we have to like collect the heat energy to turn it back into some other energy. You know what I mean? Create and destroy. You can't look at destroy. Sorry, create. You can't create either. Sorry, transform. But that sun is constantly. You think it'd be constantly adding energy because it's heat. It's constantly adding heat, energy. So you're gaining energy, but like you're not really losing it. That's why it's solar. That's why there's heat. There's a. Global warming, because theoretically, if it was if you were not creating anything, it shouldn't be getting hotter, or else we wouldn't be able to just take it and transform it to something else.
Well, it cools down too. Like when the sun's not on the dark side, that side's cooling off.
Yeah, but theoretically, the average is still going up. So theoretically, it's getting hotter and hotter. So So you think it's just like what's powering a sun? To be honest, what's powering a sun?
Hydrogen.
Just hydrogen burning. It's
Yeah.
burning hydrogen. It's just a chunk of
Yeah, it's
hydrogen's
just
burning. So I guess that's just a pile of energy sitting there burning.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. You know how much energy we're wasting considering the fact that that sun in every direction is producing that much heat? If you just put 1,000,000 solar panels surrounding it entirely, how much energy you could have? Just endless amounts of energy. You could have so much energy. But we're only catching like 0.2% of how much energy is coming off that sun, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're gaining like nothing. Everything else is just being shot into space randomly.
I think we should, like, we could cover the moon in some sort of collector. Because even the moon's not that big of a, because you can't cover the whole Earth in like solar panels, but like, you cover the moon and then you figure
Cover
out
other planets.
Yeah.
Just go into space. Have a bunch of satellites out there collecting it.
Mm-hmm. But then how do they transfer it back?
Yeah, rockets. Because rockets are always being sent up and down. Like, it's just because you don't like hear about them.
How do you transfer the heat? You're collecting, like, if you have a solar panel, you have to store that electricity. That's batteries, weight. There's got to be a way to transfer it elsewhere. Like,
it wouldn't be worth it.
You got to be able to move it somehow. That's not a physical connection. There's got to be some form.
The only way
of
that it would be
wireless.
worth it is if you could teleport those batteries from that back to Earth with zero energy in that way. If the teleport took no energy, that would be the only way it'd be beneficial. That's janky.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Just doesn't make sense.
I love how what is it, Elon Musk is trying to put people on Mars right now. He's trying to make a cities, space cities, because it's livable. It's possibly livable because it has water on it, right? So if these things, you just put plants up there, have a bunch of carbon dioxide from like us on our plant, transfer it up there to help them grow and everything, and it would change and after like 10 years, it would change it to be all oxygen, and it would be livable. So you can just walk up, you just go in there, and it has an atmosphere. So you can just go up there.
The atmosphere is carbon. It's carbon dioxide. That's why it'd be perfect for plants.
So you just go there, and then after 10 years, you probably even less time, depending on how many you put, it would change it all to oxygen, and then you could just literally have houses there and just live as if it was this place. And then what's the gravity ratio? Only like a slight bit heavier, or is it a slight bit lighter for Mars? What is it? I think it's close though, right? Because like it's almost identical. It just needs more water. If you think about it, water is never like destroyed either. You drink it, and you disperse it, and you clean it up, and you redo it, and you collect it and everything.
It's a big difference.
Is it?
If you weigh 100 kilograms on Earth, you're gonna weigh 38 on Mars.
So it's less.
Much less.
Huh.
It's gonna fuck with your body.
You'll be taller.
You'd be taller, and your blood would be thinner and shit like that.
You have to have like oxygen packs probably for a little bit until you got used to it. You know what I mean?
Or
Like,
if you're just born up there, you'll be born different. So like only the first generation will be.
But if you're born that way, your DNA is probably like thinking it's Earth. No, you think as soon as it's
You
born,
just grow into that.
you're probably right. Your body's like,
Because our body's designed to grow against the limitations of like the atmospheric weight and stuff like that.
so no.
Gravity.
So the next generation would be okay, but now we'd be fucked up.
Yeah.
Huh. What is that shit, man? What is the shitty design? That's some shitty design. Human design is terrible, if you think about it.
I think that's the moral of life.
Human design is terrible.
Yep.
Like, you think you'd just be able to, like, if you were smart, you should have everything just easy transfer, changing interchangeable body parts, everything should be just easy, like Legos. You'd think that'd be the perfect way to design, because if there's a flaw in somebody's design and they die, it wouldn't be for nothing. But instead, it's like useless because you can't really do much with it. I mean, obviously you can now, but like originally, there'd be nothing to do with it.
But look at you can't create or destroy.
It would just disintegrate to the earth.
So like people have to die.
And yeah.
In order for life, there has to be death.
Death. Yeah, I know.
You
Circle of
literally
life has to
can't-
be even.
You can't have one without the other. You know how fucked up that is? That's weird. So nobody, theoretically, like a couple people could live forever, but like not everybody.
Eventually, there's going to be a limit on humans too, like on planet. There's going to be like a body count. We're already way past the limit. It surprised me that they haven't been like, all right, guys, we're destroying our own planet legally. We need this many people. So once those people die, there's no more having children until a certain amount of people die.
That's what China does.
Why no?
They find people.
Well, that's only because it's in our country. But you think it should be a worldwide limit, and then it would be fine.
Yeah, but then you get the morals and stuff like that.
And then people would be like, well, that doesn't matter to me. And then it's like, well, that's going to destroy future life. And then people are like, well, I don't care about future life. It's like, I get that. But theoretically, there's no fucking point anyways. It's not like we're going to benefit from it.
In the end, it doesn't matter because the sun's going to blow up.
Which is overdue.
So what's it matter?
What is
no matter how you look at it, you can say, well, what if this? Comes
sun's
full
gonna,
circle to it. The sun's gonna blow up. Doesn't
and
matter.
then everybody's dead. Not
Yeah.
just like circle of life. No, it's every life on
So
this
in
planet.
the end, it doesn't matter.
This Milky Way will be destroyed eventually. Because the Milky Way is
So
in
in
the,
the end, it doesn't matter.
this Milky Way will be destroyed. It's like, you know how much time we've done and how many things we've gone through, and it's like,
All for nothing.
what is that shit? You like that messes with somebody's morals. Like that really does. Like somebody's like, well, there has to be a purpose. No, there can't be a purpose because it's gonna be thrown away.
Right, and then it like.
That's why everyone does religion, because they think they
yeah,
believe it.
people need a faith. I don't really have a faith.
Me neither. But it's like you would think. It's like you have to believe in some kind of magic, something to save you, because I feel like it's your brain's at a stalemate where it's like, what do I do? You have to believe in something magical and mystic just to make you sleep at night. Because then you're not stuck in a loop of nothing matters. You're like, well, eventually I'll be thrown into a magical imagination place where everything is perfect and I don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
And then you sleep all night. So I understand that. But at the same time, scientifically standing right, it's like, what is that? Awful. Awful. Yeah, I know.
I think we should wrap it.
I think we should have it. Almost 2 hours. This will last me a long ass time.
Yep.
Production cut.
Only because I'm leaving at like 8 in the morning tomorrow, so I want to get a little bit of sleep, and I'm still gonna go home and shower.
Fair enough, buddy. All right, boys. That was Pizza Driver Xavier
And Michael.
and Michael. They're crazy people.
My head's broken. I'm gonna sleep weird tonight. But see, no, real quick though.
Oh.
This talks into because like I deal with depression and anxiety.
A lot
So,
of people
like,
do, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Most people do.
most people do. So like it's a hard thing to talk about, but like most people know what you're talking about. But people feel crazy for feeling that way.
Choose to ignore it.
Yeah, because like all the time, like I'm really insecure, and I care what people think. Like a lot of the times, I'm trying to think of a good example, just something very general. Like I feel weird talking in front of people. That hasn't always been the case. It's only been the past couple of years, but in the end, you're gonna die. So like, what's it matter? What does it matter when you sit? Like if you're afraid to do something in life, just do it.
Some people accept that, and that's why they have no shame. But some
Yeah.
people act like it's gonna be like a thing in the afterlife where it's permanent, forever.
Right.
Like you're gonna live forever.
But we don't know that, so we should be living it up to the most. You know what I mean? Do what you're gonna do. Do what you want to do. Live the life you want to live, and learn how to like be comfortable and not
It's
care.
true.
I look at it as in you should care enough to be a good person, but like don't care enough to where you're not miserable. And I haven't figured out how to not care enough to where I'm not miserable, and that's my downfall. Because like
Who knows?
like for instance, today at work, my mind was just cluttered with all this garbage, like things that didn't work out in the past,
But
stuff like that. But like it all doesn't matter.
why? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like heartbreak, sure. Like that was my biggest thing that like almost killed me. But what does it matter? It doesn't.
It is useless, my friend.
But what is depression? Why does it make you care too much?
What is emotion?
Next time.
What is emotion?
What is emotion?
There isn't. Emotion is just a concept.
It's just electrical impulses going off inside your brain. And in the end, it doesn't matter because we're all going to die when the sun blows up. No matter how you shake a stick.
It all comes up to the sun blowing up.
Yeah, you know, it's like one of those flow charts where like, no. Oh, is it supposed to move? Yes. WD-40. Is it supposed to move? No. Duct tape. It's, is this? Sun blows up.
What if? And then
Sun blows up.
It all comes back. That chart just spreads out in
It
like
can
a
be like
tree
the size
forever.
of a whole wall, and it's just
It comes up. Sun blows up.
funnels into sun blows up.
What if that sun just doesn't blow up? It has to though. Scientifically,
We'll
it
never
has
know.
to.
We're gonna be gone before then. So unless there's an afterlife
guess-
and we can observe,
We're gonna freeze so damn fast we won't even know what hit us. Probably. And it's not gonna be like it's gonna be really.
but there's gonna be no history after that. None of us are gonna remember anything. All of our memories die with us. So when everybody dies, there's no memory of the human race.
Do you think they'll be able to find a way to put a brain in a computer? I always wonder.
We could make artificial like I don't think you could transfer somebody because like you said earlier, when you die and come back, you're a completely different person.
Can't be.
Can be, yeah. So I don't think you could transfer, but I definitely think we could make like consciousness.
I think there was somebody was starting to put a brain, like they were copying someone's brain into a computer program, and it would be a clone of you, but the person was still alive, and he was like, I thought I'd be transformed into a computer. And it's like, well, we can't physically change your consciousness out of your brain into it. We can
Yeah.
make a clone of you,
Yeah.
but there's no way to remove you from your brain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess you could just kill
But
them.
what is you?
So what is you? There is no, you can't move your body. You're done. You're stuck in that body forever.
You is not a physical thing.
You can make a clone. You can make a computer clone that'll last forever, but you can't move.
You is not a thing. You aren't real.
How does the computer think, though? If you have a clone of yourself computerized, does it have emotion? It can't.
Okay, well, let's look at it this way. You can't create or destroy anything, right?
Yeah.
It has to be something. What is that something?
This is crazy shit.
Because you can't just grab, like, you can't just go in and grab consciousness. So, like, is consciousness even real?
Yeah, it is
Is
conscious.
life even real? There's so many questions.
Consciousness is just a thought.
It doesn't matter. Sun blows up.
Sun blows up.
That's gonna be our new thing at work.
Sun blows up.
Sun blows up. Doesn't matter.
Everyone's like, you fucked up this pizza. It doesn't matter. Sun blows up.
I'm gonna smack a pizza out of your hand, and every John's gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" So, sun blows up.
Sun blows up. Doesn't matter.
You can be mad at me, but like,
Sun blows up.
you're not even gonna remember this a month from now. Let alone you're gonna die someday. So am I. And when you die, all your memories go away. So nobody. If I remember it, let's say there's us three in the room, right? It's me, you, and the general manager in a room, and I smack the pizza out your hand.
Uh-huh.
You, him, and I are the only ones who remember it. You know what's another thing weird? Oh my god.
It's endless, huh?
This is, yeah, because like my cousin one time was like, you remember that one time we went to the junkyard? And I'm like, no, I don't remember that at all. That is an experience that her and I had together, and since I don't remember it, it only exists in her mind.
Oh my god, that is... You'll never, like... Unless you remember it all of a sudden, which is possible, but, like, if you
Right.
don't, it only happened to her, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
So like right now, like, let's say 10 years from this, we'll remember this. If you're the only one who remembers it, it only exists in your
Your
head.
head.
You know how many things are... Think of it right now. Think about all the stuff you remember just randomly throughout the day. You're like, oh, I remember when I did this with this friend back then, or I was sitting in school and I did this and I was like 2 years old. You know, all the random things you remember. It's only in your head. They're only memories.
Isn't it weird you'll remember some, like, stupid shit that doesn't matter, but, like, you'll forget really important information?
Yeah, that's me all the time.
What in your brain decides what's important and what's not? Because clearly it's not what your definition of important is. Because like you'll be like, oh, I need to study for a test, and then you'll remember like you fucking dropped a crayon 2 years ago in like a random ass classroom, and you'll remember that, but you won't remember the information. Like you're like, so like consciously, I know this is important, that's not important, but your brain's like, I'll remember this useless information, but this I'll forget. It's like, what the fuck is that shit? It's like I want to just like go into your brain, and just smack you, and be like, listen here, you don't understand what important is, you piece of shit. This is kind of funny though. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so if two people forget something, did it even happen? It hurts.
What it did. It's like if a tree falls in a forest, and
Right.
no one's around to hear it, does it happen?
Right.
Well, yeah, it does theoretically. It still makes the noise, but no one's around to hear it, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter though. It does happen. That the answer to that riddle, quotation marks, is yes, but it doesn't matter. That's the correct
'cause
answer theoretically.
If nothing hears it, then it exists for nothing.
Yeah, then it happened for no reason. So it's like, why even bother?
Yep.
Why the fucking bother?
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, shit. So I'm glad you guys watched the podcast because then nothing matters because the sun blows up.
The sun blows up.
Sun blows
That's the title of this one.
sun blows up. The sun blows up. It's all useless. That's the best shit.
You're gonna die. Live your life.
That's right, bitch. Shit. Well, we outie. We're literally about to hit the exact 2 hour mark on a solid one. Of course, it'll be split up, but
Yep.
good job. We did a good job.
Good podcast.
Good podcast. Deep meaning instead of my last ones that are complete bullshit. It's good to have a change once in a while. But yes, I'm sure we'll bring back humor eventually. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
With everybody else. This guy's just an expressive, depressive boy.
Yeah.
Brings me into the depression stage.
I have the thoughts.
It was probably me that started it. But
I don't know.
somebody started it. I don't know who.
It's
What
just
we're
this
playing with.
energy. It's just what.
That was the felt energy going around, huh?
Yeah, because I think about I think about all the time like all the like worthlessness and everything's meaningless. That's like just depression. But depression doesn't matter because the sun blows up.
Sun blows up.
Doesn't matter. We can make a shirt.
Sun
We're gonna
blows-
do merch.
Oh, we need to do merch. What do you think, guys? Merch that says doesn't matter, sun blow up.
Yeah, it starts with like problem up here. There's a million different little lines, and it all comes down to
Sun blows up. Sun blows up. Doesn't matter. That's perfect. I like that. I'll have to design that t-shirt later. I love going onto some random t-shirt maker like websites and make stuff. I do that all the time, and I'll save it and like send it to people, and people are like, that's a good idea. I just never do it. I feel like I should.
Let's start making merch.
We start making merch, dude.
Let us know if you want merch.
Yeah, I want some merch. It'd be pretty fucking good. Pizza Devil podcast ones. They're nice. Some cool ass stupid shit though. Make some cool designs. I like this one. Boy. That's right.
It doesn't matter. Sun blows up.
Okay. Alrighty, boys. That was Xavier. He's a crazy bitch, but we'll be back with some more comedy later. But this was more of a venting episode, and I like it. Venting is good for you. I suggest you do it sometimes. Okay. I'm going to give him back his microphone because he brought his own. Let me know if the quality's better than the last episode. So I'll just steal it from him one day and never give it back to him. I'll steal it. And we'll find out. But leave some comments. Let me know on your opinions on this. Or some facts that I didn't know. And if you leave a complaint, I'm going to come over there and hunt you down and smack you.
Yep.
I'm just gonna stand outside your window until you notice me, and then I'm going to just crawl in through your window and just smack you and then leave.
Safe words, pineapples.
Safe words, pineapples.
Watch your fingers, boot hole man.
Oh, God. Ugh, that video is stupid. God, now I'd find that video and leave a link, you piece of shit. Watch your fingers, booty hole man. Oh, that's a stupid ass one.
Now I'm thinking about no, not my burger. Like the cat.
The cat grabs the burger. I don't know how that burger stayed in one piece in that video. Just, oh, not my burger. And just holding the cat there while the cat's holding the burger. God, only the true memers will get it. Sun blows up.
Huh?
Sun blows up.
Sun blows up.
I'll just punch you right in the face right now. It doesn't matter. Sun
It
blows
doesn't
up.
matter. I'm gonna go get my gun at home, drive all the way back here because sleep doesn't matter because at the end of the day, sun blows up. So I'm gonna go home,
What is time?
get my gun, and I'm just gonna drive around a big circle across the state, come here, and then shoot you.
Remember, guys, if someone ever yells at you for being late, just tell them time is just a concept. Time is just a construct.
Yeah.
On that. Just
Why
say
were you late to work?
time is just a construct. Just say that.
Time is a construct. It doesn't exist.
Like, why
Can
are
you
you
grasp time?
Just like
no.
Just like, why are you so slow? What do you mean slow? Time is just a construct.
My time is different than
I
your
want that. I want that time. I want that on a T-shirt. We should make that time is just a construct. It's excuses for having a messed up time, and just have like a blank and it says messed up time, and it's like time is just a construct.
Somebody had a tattoo that was really cool. I think it's a football player.
Uh-huh.
No, it's a basketball player. It says it's a little like digital watch, and you know how they got like the lines on like the 80s ones. It just says now.
Now.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
Time is now.
Time is now, and never happening at the same time.
Time isn't real. It's a construct.
Time is just a construct. The sun doesn't matter.
Blows up.
It's gonna blow up. Time is just a construct. What the fuck? Alright, boys. Tell Xavier he did a terrible job and he's just an espresso depresso machine.
Awful man here. I'm gonna go home and off myself.
No.
I'm not actually gonna do that.
No. Don't do that. It's okay. Tell him that he deserves a bunch of love. He's a crazy man.
Need dick suck.
He needs dick suck.
Dick
If there's
suck
any
a lot.
ladies out there, or any guys, he's desperate. He needs some help. he
Any
needs,
takers? Come on.
he needs help. Doesn't matter, a mouth is a mouth. He needs someone.
Booty hole's booty hole.
I don't like that.
It doesn't matter. The sun blows up.
It doesn't matter. Someone's like, God, they can't. You know what sucks is that could be an answer for everything.
It's everything.
That doesn't matter.
Because you're like, you think about, oh, well, gay sex is bad. Like, why? And
Sun.
then, like, it's just morals. But then, like, why morals? Because sun blows up.
Sun blows
like,
up.
Just go fuck everybody.
You're encouraging people to just start raping people.
It's the purge. Go.
Oh God, what if you started?
Well, it happens here in Toledo.
Yeah, Toledo does that. But Toledo is always
There's
the
already
purge.
people wiling out.
People driving down the street, you're shooting people
Hmm?
because they're like, yeah, random ass drive-bys, just a random people walking
Yeah.
down the street. Why not?
Yep.
Doesn't matter. Sun blows up.
Nope.
Alrighty, boys. I'm gonna leave this man to go home because it's 2:30 a.m. and he lives a bit away, so he can drive alone. Time is just a construct.
Time doesn't matter.
Time does not matter.
But sleep matters.
Everything
I
is
have things to do tomorrow.
So yeah, but sleep matters though.
Yeah.
Sleep's the only thing that matters. But then when you wake up, it doesn't matter.
Waking up doesn't matter.
Waking that's awful. Don't say that. That's too far. All right. All right. That's what he said. That was his final words. All right. You done? You have one more?
I'm trying to get a big one.
You have one more?
That's how we gotta end them.
Oh, I thought
Nope.
there we go. That's mine.
Come on. Keep baby ones.
Tell him he's useless and he can't even burp right. What is that?
I'm just forcing air down my throat.
I think that's how you have to do it. You can't just open up your throat. You have to like do some weird techniques.
Yeah.
I wish you could see this. It was the weirdest fucking thing I've seen.
There's a lot of air in my stomach right now. There's gonna be a big one, but you can stop the recording.
All right. We tell him to go
Fuck himself.
and tell him don't ever come back to this podcast again because he was terrible.
Okay.
And tell people that we need more Zach over here because he was great. And don't worry, the part 3 of Ajax is coming out soon, so I'll be releasing that one probably right after this one. There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
Check this.